This is AV SuperFriends On Topic, a 30-minute monthly roundtable focused on a single topic. This discussion will be opinionated, to the point, and saturated with our well-known blend of painfully won expertise and deeply ingrained immaturity. For March 2024, it's the best-sounding podcast in higher ed. This is the AV SuperFriends On Topic. Broadcasting live from coast to coast, easternmost to westernmost, northernmost to southernmost, gate post to hitching post. I'm your local host who can boast the most milquetoast and utmost humility. I'm Chris Dector. It's time for another Friday afternoon podcast adventure. And let's welcome our panel of illustrious AV SuperFriends for today. Push this button.
What do you call me?
You heard me. Our first panelist is an international functionality engineer from Kansas City, Jamie Reinhardt. No intro from Jamie.
I waved. It was one of those goofy waves. You weren't watching.
All right. Let's welcome a senior configuration orchestrator from Corvallis, Oregon, Mark Kolowazinski.
I'm just looking for a good time, y'all.
Let's get some mild applause for you there. Next, we're joined by an international assurance facilitator. Oh, I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button there. Sorry. International assurance facilitator from Greensboro, North Carolina, Larry Darling.
Yep, everything's good.
Is all you do? You're just assuring
Everything's good.
people
All the time.
Facilitating assurance.
Don't worry. And finally, by request, he's been promoted again. You know him and love him. A customer implementation vice president from Bowling Green, Kentucky, Justin Rexing.
Does everybody else hear that clapping?
Nope.
No, there's no clapping.
It's a studio audience, dude. We're live.
We're live.
Is that Twitter clapping?
That's
For you.
You're hearing Twitter right now. That's what Twitter sounds like.
Okay.
You're going to get demoted next week.
So this month's topic
every other
is
week.
rethinking spaces. But before we start that, we got a comment from somebody on through Spotify. I didn't know you could even do that, but hey, whatever. I also don't know how to reply to said person, so there's that. Yeah, if you're listening to us on Spotify, hey, thanks. Go to our website, avsuperfriends.com, and pick up the RSS feed. It's better. Anyway, they said, why are you guys doing a show in only 20 minutes? It seems rushed. So,
You're welcome. You're right.
Well, I suppose there is that. So
That
today
is
we're going to add.
only way to stay on topic.
We're going to add one more minute. It's a bonus minute.
That's a lot in the percentage of what we're getting here. So, I mean, spared no expense.
You can't make everybody happy. It's either too long.
Well, okay,
it's
and
too
for a bit of
short.
background, what we recognized was that the on topics, which in the intro that you probably weren't listening to when it fired off a minute ago, it says it's a 30-minute monthly roundtable, and we were kind of going way long on those. So we figure we'll give ourselves 20 minutes of discussion, which leaves us 10 minutes to waste time, and then hopefully get that all boxed in under 30 minutes.
We value your time. We want to give you factual information as fast as we can, so you can act
Do
on
we
it.
really?
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
We're trying. We're trying.
And there's a video stream, and nobody wants to look at our ugly mugs for more than 20
No,
minutes.
that's too challenging.
Jamie, you're my desktop background. I look at you all day long. It's great.
Well,
Yours too?
So 1 out of 5. 2 out of 5. Hey.
It's so weird.
We've already lost viewers. I mean, the numbers were up and now they're gone. So,
All right.
All right, well, let me start this timer, and then we'll talk about the topic of the month. Let's make it go. There we go. All right. So, topic for March is rethinking spaces. And the way I think we put some rails around this was, what's one thing in a post-COVID project? So this is all stuff that we've done after COVID, because COVID projects were all slapdash, and let's see what we can get in there and do as many as we can for as few dollars as possible.
Mine were well thought out, organized, and planned.
Well, they were somewhere. So what's one thing we would do differently if we were to do that same project today? Or projects. So does that give us enough to go on?
it gives us something to get into.
All right.
So, yeah.
Mark, we're going to start with you because you're first on my list.
You always start with me on the list.
Well, you're at the top of the list
Ah,
for some unknown reason. I think when we started typing this template 4 years ago, your name went in there.
Shuffle it up. All right. Anyway, for me, I looked back as I thought about rethinking spaces, and I looked at like where are my problems now because of the things I may have done, and
You
we
may or
all
may not
have those
done.
from time to time, right? What should I have done differently?
I do
And-
that
and-
once a week, not once a year.
Well, it's an even year.
time
We talked
for
about this last time, so
He's got an extra day this year to think about it.
yeah. My whole thing was our approach for the student in the room, specifically around the microphone thing. We did this real quantitative approach during a lot of rollouts and used a lot of that measurement that we may or may not have gotten exactly right during our rushed rollouts, and kind of have done some rooms. And I've kind of gone back and it's like, those are not the best qualitative approaches to what we need to do. And we spend a lot of time having to do that. I'm almost of the belief that maybe we shouldn't have even put those in a lot of spaces. And that,
You're saying, so just to
yeah,
clarify,
go
are
ahead.
you saying
You
to
go.
not mic the students at all, or to adjust what part of the rooms you are miking?
I think it's to develop more of an assessment as to where that actually belongs. Right?
Which
I
rooms
don't
need
know
it.
if it necessarily
It's
belongs.
interesting you didn't answer my
everywhere.
question. So.
I can't answer your question. Ask it again.
So are you saying no mic, or you need to maybe reduce or maybe tune or focus the mics?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So all that. It's exactly all of that.
I knew that was
I'm
coming.
going to stop asking
I
questions.
knew it. I knew Mark
Well,
was going to answer.
I can't
yes.
help that it's the answer. It is what it is. There are spaces that have them that shouldn't. There are spaces that don't have enough, and there's spaces that have too many and sound like shit. So
Okay,
I-
so you're,
it's-
you're saying the approach of carrying a big box of microphones, running around and just into every space was probably not the best way to do it.
no,
Kind
it
of like
wasn't.
Ninja Stars. He was just throwing those things in the
like
tiles and calling it a day.
Yeah, I mean, we did it, and we rolled them out. And at first, can you hear me? Yes or no? Yes. On to the next room, right?
Oh, so you work for an integrator.
We did that, and we all do at some level. But it's there's spots now as we go back where it's like, oh, I really wish we would have had more time to do this, and understanding we need to focus more on that and rethinking about how we deploy them at scale. I could take Jason or Justin's approach. If it's not perfect, don't do it. No audio at all, right? Uniformity,
think
all that
that's-
stuff.
Oh,
Audio's a luxury.
That's
that
not
is
his
the most
approach.
complimentive way
Yes.
of saying that I have
If you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all. And that's kind of how my takeaway is: readdress and make sure it's right. Not that it's wrong; it's just that we've experienced it more, and maybe the students and the clientele that are in these spaces are more informed now, and they are demanding higher quality. At first they said they were okay with yes or no. Now it's like no, it needs to be yes at the best, and so it's forcing us to rethink.
And I don't know if it's just higher quality. Some of them also want the control of, now I want to hear the students, now I don't. And when I implemented the same thing, I just wanted that discourse for the students at home to be able to feel like they were part of the class, taking part in the conversation. And I don't know if that, I agree with you. I'm not sure that was the best approach at this point. We need to
It
be
just
able
feels weird. Yeah.
for the instructor to facilitate when that discourse happens, not just hear about what the guys in the back of the room are talking about.
And the decision at large has been come back and take localized classes. If you're online, you're doing the virtual eCampus, whatever that is. And so we don't actually have a lot of call for, I want to hear all the students in the classroom on a recording so people at home can hear them also. So it's, assessing where do we need to be with that and being honest that maybe we don't have it right everywhere and rethinking that approach. I don't know.
That was a very self-congratulatory non-answer.
It was
Yes.
Was it?
a little bit.
Wow.
It seems pretty much on par, though.
Yeah.
Good job.
Or we're just going to do it. We'll put more of them out there. Hell with it. We're just going.
put 'em
We're not
in.
going to change it all. You guys talked me out of it. I'm getting rid of it. It's not a plan anymore.
You
We're
put
doing more.
in like very
Wow.
capable mic arrays and then dump it out analog. So
Yeah.
Those rooms are great. Those ones sound
go
amazing.
put more of those out there.
If I
I'm
had
on
the
your team
opportunity,
here, and
I would be
I'm-
doing that. That's kind of the takeaway that
I'm
we
on your
did it
team
in
on
one
this one.
approach. That now that we've had the better version, we're like, man, it makes that version seem a little bit less than adequate.
Yeah.
All right then. All right. So for me, I would say
Hate it,
that
Chris. Just
yes,
hate
I do not like that. That bothers me on so many levels. It's like buying a PTZ camera and locking it off. No.
Hey,
Which I'm sure we've all done that.
that's
There's
it.
people
I'm pulling-
that is the sometimes that's the functionality you need out of a PTZ camera, Chris.
That's it. I'm putting a controller in all of my all-in-one box rooms now. That's it.
Done.
And as Justin has asked, I was talking specifically about higher ed spaces, my spaces.
Yeah, I think in general we're talking about our
Yes.
spaces, higher ed
All right.
specific. So I would say two things. One, things that I would do differently: simplify wherever possible. Don't be seduced by the opportunity to put in something extra or something special. Do whatever that doesn't necessarily need to be there, because it's just gonna. If they're not specifically using it all day long, it's just going to cause issues down the road.
Like multi-Dante channel output of a ceiling mic.
Yes, that's exactly what I was talking about.
Just use the analog.
See,
Yeah, it's
simplify,
the thing with
simplify.
And Larry's going to bring it up, the dual displays and things like that. If they're not
Just
using
don't
it,
You're speaking
dial
for
it
Larry.
back.
Let him
I
speak
know.
for himself.
So
It's Chris's turn.
and also,
on the
I'm saying in
list.
general, simplify stuff because it just makes life easier down the road. Secondly, the other thing is sometimes you have to let the client win even when they're wrong. So in some of these, like, I'll just say, some of these spaces where you've got someone who's like, let's say a high-level admin at a university who really wants this particular feature in a room, and you know that's not the best thing to have in a room and they don't need it, but honestly it's going to be their space and they're going to be the ones using it 85% of the time. Let them have that feature.
Does it hoot?
It does not hoot. So no, this was
After it's
specific
gone,
to,
it doesn't. Yeah.
This was specific to displays that had additional features in them. Like, you just need a dumb monitor and we'll drive all the rest of them. And I'm like, you know what? Honestly, that person would have been much happier with like 2 HDMI input plates, a remote on their table, and a the literal TV that they wanted. And like, would have been.
Would it have all the buttons on the remote, or would half of them be removed via Razer?
They would have too many buttons, so now I need to go back to simplify that. So.
Yeah, you're
But I do want
over-engineering
to say
that.
to that last one, at the same time, I will continue to ignore people who are straight up wrong. And to your point, Mark, about the microphones,
You're
the people
ignoring
who-
me this whole time.
the people who say things like, "Oh no, we don't need Zoom in this room." No, you're getting that capability. I don't. This is
Or when they say,
2020.
"I just need I need Zoom. I just need a monitor."
Yeah, and when they say stuff like that,
Just need a monitor for Zoom.
oh no, the classroom's fine. Just we don't need any cameras or mics in here. Because
can you-
what's going to happen is they will end up with a hootie hoo sitting on the table, and then people will complain that we're trying to teach a class in here and can't hear people well. So
I love that metric.
yes,
I'm about to talk about that.
all right, well, Justin, go for it.
Then dive in.
Yell at us, Justin. Yell at us.
You know, with Mark's example during COVID, I don't know if y'all remember, but we basically just threw a
I don't
bunch of
remember
dock
COVID.
cams out there that are USB with mics on them. So, you know, it really was a decent metric to establish where high quality Zoom capable needed to be. Kind of going back to Mark's point of not just throwing a bunch of stuff out there. So I guess we did that pretty well. We didn't, you know, just shotgun approach on our rooms. You know, to Chris's point, we already make things too simple. I can't make it even more simple than what we do now.
Yeah, but
Nothing at all is as simple as you can get, and I like that. That is
Yeah. I
definitely.
I mean, it's
Justin,
like,
you have rooms that don't have sound, but they still have pictures, so you could
that's
remove
as
that.
simple as shit. That's a simple. I mean, that's
Take that out.
simple. Like no tech is, I guess, the simplest.
There you
but,
go.
there it is.
You know,
Just
and
turn
thinking
your
about-
laptop around and share
Yeah.
it.
Aim this at
Overhead
people.
projector.
Yeah, thinking about what I would do different. There's just this message. We're terrible at marketing. There's this message on campus that we just can't get through to some of the people with money. And you've heard us complain about, you know, trying to create standards and a standard experience and putting all the ANSI standards in and the VIXA standards and all this stuff. And that requires money than just throwing stuff in a room without thought. Anybody can do that, right? So I don't have an answer, but that's really what my answer is for this subject is I just need to rethink, or our team needs to rethink how we're approaching the message of sustainable AV on our campus, why you need to refresh rooms, why it's important not to just let things break and then call IT and then expect it to be fixed in a week or two. It's not good for the students. It's not good for the faculty, and things need to just be reassessed. I don't really have much more than
That's
that.
like put it in once and just let it run till it dies and then respond.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just not a good way. We do feel like an internal integrator. We just wait on projects from broken stuff around campus, and everything is ad hoc. Everything's one-off. Everything is
these are firefighters.
based upon the department's money. It's just firefighting. It's all it is, and it's interesting. It makes for some interesting projects and some really cool custom stuff. But again, we all
Doesn't
realize
scale.
the inefficiencies of it at scale. So it is what it is. We're working through things. So,
Growing, clawing your way up that Gartner curve.
but we didn't screw up with a bunch of like Oregon money like Oregon State
Hey.
did with throwing a bunch of cameras and widgets and microphones
And
in
buying
every room,
every
everywhere.
DSP in the planet.
So
in
no
one
one
week.
else could buy
We didn't
anything.
buy them all. We had them made for us.
We didn't have that Oregon money to do all that crap.
They went and turned the factory on, and they drove them down here
Yeah.
and delivered them.
They went and woke up that guy. Said, "Time to make the donuts."
Could you press the relay? Oh.
Jamie,
I,
good
uh,
answer, but who's next? What is it?
Yeah,
Jamie?
we did. I think when rethinking our scenario coming out of COVID, we didn't really have this giant approach to slapdash things after with CARES money and such. Mine was kind of a rethinking and just how we do things in general. We used to do, everybody needed the same equality equipment capabilities in every single space. It was everywhere. If you wanted a classroom, you got the same things. A projector and the podium and the DVD or VCR or whatever, media player and a doc cam and blah, 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 blah.
What's
blah,
a
blah, blah.
media player?
What's a podium?
I know.
Yeah.
I only want the VCR.
You making shit up now?
No, it's anyway. So
Okay.
we used to just do everything and everywhere. Everybody got the same kit, no matter where they were, because that was a standardization thing.
I heard kit.
Since then,
Same kit of parts.
I heard kit.
it was same kit, same kit.
It's not what you think it is.
So it
But
is.
it's not what you think
It
it is.
It is.
It is. So originally it
needs to
was.
be.
It was the exact same thing everywhere. The only
That's not
difference
what I
would
mean
be,
by kit. but
Shut
okay.
up. It was you either got a single projector or two projectors. Other than that, you got the same thing. Now, since COVID, since the changes, taking a different approach is that we have the same kit of parts.
Oh man, you're like
So we
using the
might
same
use the
words even.
same microphone, we might use the same controller, we might use the same projection system, but we now are tailoring it towards the experience that is desired in this room. We've stopped just giving everybody everything, because what we were finding out is we were really still only getting 60% utilization in any given room. And so how do I get 100%? Well, if I only make 2 or 3 of these special rooms, strategically located, then I was getting up into 80% utilization of the same equipment, and I had less troubles in other places because they didn't need that stuff to begin with. So really, we're still using the same parts. It's the same DSP. It's the same controller. It's just I employ them differently. So at any given time, I can still swap the parts out. But if I have a screening room, a movie screening room, and I have an active learning room, they don't just get the carte blanche, here it all is. And so that changing and thinking has, that's what has changed in how I design stuff and how my team now handles things going forward is, there's nothing wrong with tailoring it towards the education experience that is requested instead of just saying, nope, here's your stuff.
Nope, but only 2 buckets.
Only
I don't have
4
buckets
tiers.
anymore.
It's everything
I actually
or
have-
remote with half buttons cut off. That's the only option. There's no in
2
between.
buckets you get.
Only for all you fools, I've already evolved past
I was gonna
tiering.
say you seem like you're very data driven over there. I like it.
I think he claims a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's fake.
I think he's just making up
It's
a bunch of
not-
shit.
I
He
did.
uses
Amen,
arcade
brother.
buttons. Like,
Amen.
what kit of parts
All-
is that from?
so, but yeah, your kit
Larry,
is still
buttons
giant
and whack-a-moles.
multi-matrix switchers and all kinds of stuff.
The
But only 2 cards on it.
simplify, and there is nothing more simple than an LED lit arcade button.
You're not wrong.
I'm going to post a sign here. That's going to be my sign next time.
All buttons are just single.
So what would you do, Larry, Mr. Smart Guy?
2 things.
Too late. We're out of time.
Yeah.
6
we are.
minutes
I have
all
6
for
minutes
you.
now.
Go for it.
The first is along the same lines that everybody else has said, simplifying. Although I'm going to take it a step farther. Chris said, or you all have mentioned that Zoom is everywhere now. I have found spaces that don't need to be outfitted for that. We have dance studios that were considered classrooms. When COVID hit, all classroom spaces got some sort of Zooms or Teams or something capability. I have
Only WebEx.
I have science labs, I have dance spaces, I have experiential learning rooms that probably don't need it. And I can scale that back, simplify my base, and then roll out kind of what Jamie's doing. Hit those rooms that, the seminar rooms, the rooms that need that true two-way communication. Hit those a little more effectively.
Where it's explicitly needed, not just like a
Exactly.
blanket. You're gonna all be on Zoom forever.
Well,
No,
I don't
you're not.
disagree that a science lab, a dance studio, that doesn't need it, but
The
active
majority
learning
do, but I
spaces-
have like 20% that probably don't need it. They'll never
You
use
said
it.
probably, Larry. I got a plan
No,
for you.
no.
Here's
I
the plan.
was going the other way, saying that those spaces don't need it, but it's in an active learning classroom.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't.
But weird enough, if you have that common kit of parts, then you could just
It's easy.
add it on as you go.
You can, yeah. As
The
long as
easiest
you
way. The easiest way to assess if your
Speechless.
room
Yeah.
needs Zoom capable or not properly is
don't put
you
it in.
throw out. No. You put something in that's so terrible
No,
that when people complain, you're like, oh, you do need something. That's what we did.
So
Smart.
let me get this right. Your needs analysis is based on a terrible solution first, and
Yes.
then if they need something better,
So we widely deployed a bunch of those dot cams. We got a few complaints
Yeah,
back.
I don't
and
wanna
we're
do
like,
that.
oh, that room
sounds
needs
risky.
something better.
Justin, I could have told you that before you widely deployed duck cams.
The plan is flawless. You should. It worked at then.
100%
but
of
you
the
should
time,
do
if
it
it's terrible,
now.
you'll find out. I get
That
it now.
plan sounds like a recipe to spend the weekend writing a resume. I don't want any
Yeah.
part of it. So the second thing, and this is something I've noticed the past year, we're pushing out a new video conferencing platform.
Squeezing out.
Rhymes with Eames. And
business
I've
solution.
got
not a conference
Blue
solution.
jeans.
It is a business
Blue
solution.
jeans.
I've gotten
Good call,
several
Jamie.
faculty requesting second monitors in rooms that never had them. Our standard for years and years was always single monitor on top of the lectern.
Correct.
And that was it.
Correct.
I'm actually looking at my next replacement cycle.
Nope, wrong.
The base standard has two. I'm only going to share one, but everybody seems to want that real estate to prep and then the
They
real
think-
estate to work on. or
I
to
will give you
display.
half. I'll give you a half point for saying that you're only going to share one of those outputs. If you share two of them, I'm driving
Not
to North
sharing two.
Carolina and fixing that. Don't
You
do
share
it.
directly from the machine. Oh, unless you use one of those stupid ass appliances. And you would think that in somewhere along this line,
I mean, like a
that
refrigerator?
PowerPoint
Like a washing machine?
and that you had the share to Zoom,
convection
share
oven?
to Teams, and it just virtually shares those out, and you don't even have to share the whole monitor. You would think that sometime PowerPoint would actually implement that idea instead of freaking spatial audio, because who gives a crap?
I think
But Jamie,
need
it
that
sounds
spatial
like they're
audio.
to my left.
I think 80% of our shows have some sort of Eames bashing in it.
way.
No,
No?
this isn't an Eames
I'm all
issue. This
in.
is a
We do
classroom
not
issue.
like blue
Yeah.
jeans.
I'm going in. Yeah.
Like, if I get that second monitor, it'll be okay. I just need to add that.
There's such
Larry,
a better
here's what
way
you do
for
for the
these
second
companies
monitor.
to do that.
You put the second monitor in, but you put a DA between that and the first one. So
Oh, good Lord.
I just lock it
don't.
in to duplicate the entire time. Like, it's there. It just shows the same thing.
I've started doing the 2-monitor thing, too. I'm with you.
don't like it.
I don't like it either, but I think it's the solution.
I do it.
Works
In the,
fine.
I do it in the my distance ed configuration.
But isn't every room a distance
What,
ed
like in the
configuration
old
now?
No.
plus content mode?
They are not.
But should they be?
No?
All
No.
of my dance studios
No.
are distance ed space.
There's recording capable and collaboration capable, but not the true distance ed model. Distance ed model. They are
That's
slightly
that
different.
tier 6.5 he was talking
Yeah,
about.
Yeah.
this is where Mark's splitting hairs.
Yeah, I
Ar-
mean, for
archery.
the
archery
cost
classroom
of
is
Trap me into
Zoom
this.
capable.
for the cost of a $400 solution, you're having the instructors you learn two different interfaces and two different ways of teaching.
No, there's not. It's not two different interfaces.
Well, kind of. I mean, if they're used to putting all their stuff on one monitor and sharing or having the class on the other,
There's some.
if every room is like that, that would be useful.
It's more for the far end. It's not about the notes. It's how they're communicating with the far end participants and where they put them on their display real estate and how they want to configure that, as well as the content share. There is some specific differences between those configurations.
That's another. We're going to have to hit that one another day.
Yeah.
Because we could really dig into that. I have another soapbox to climb on.
Actually, that would be a good kind of thing to talk about more in depth in a future one, is how we arrange for let's call it
Yeah.
hybrid teaching, distance ed, true outreach, whatever you want to call those
There's language
spaces.
around that, yeah.
There is specific language, but there's like tiers even within that. To, the old model of 15, 20 years ago, you build out these specific, almost like pseudo TV studio spaces, and now it's like, I aimed a doc cam at somebody. Done. So
I
Oh
know
my
how to do
God.
What is
that.
this? Where did this come
That's it. Kick him off.
Yeah. 21 by 9 is a bad idea.
Is that a question or a statement?
If you can increase your ceiling height, 21 by 9 is great.
and might as well just keep going and make it 16 by 9.
Just the right size.
I do suggest, Larry, maybe you might consider for your second monitor, maybe the second monitor could be 21 by 9.
Ooh, now we're talking.
Oh yeah, because
I think
Windows doesn't get confused enough.
There's a topic in there we can unpack, though. But I think there's actual legal language around what the universities can actually call distance education, remote, hybrid, all that. There's actual. You can't just randomly throw those words around. They mean different things, different organizations. and
Well,
there's
I
actual
didn't
legal
bring it up,
standpoint on that.
and we'll go into it later, but you're doing the similar thing on the other show about conference rooms or seminar rooms, and there's specific language on that too. So anyway, that's a topic for another day. So the blinking clock in the corner tells me our time is up. We have given you 21 minutes of content with 4 minutes of wasted time around that.
I didn't think we solved anything.
We never do.
We just
Name
talked-
one thing we've ever solved.
Justin, we're not trying to solve anything. We're trying to share things that we would do differently if we were to do that same project
Outside
again
of that
today.
one haunted install we did.
We're just highlighting issues, not actually solving them.
Oh, okay.
Just bringing things to light.
No.
Someone else can
Just-
solve them.
If you
You
want to
know-
hear more, go to the other version of this.
That's
Essentially, we're consultants.
So if you've enjoyed this nonsense and you would like to hear more of this same panel yelling at each other about random topics, please join us at avsuperfriends.com. We do 3 shows a month. This one we do live on the third Friday. We're making that a thing, so mark it in your calendars moving forward. The third Friday of every month, we'll do this show live. We'll keep it under 30 minutes, so you can waste time during lunch or I don't, what time is it? Who's on lunch? I guess if you're
I
in the
am.
Pacific,
I
you're in
was.
late lunch.
Yeah.
The rest of us are trying to do stuff during the afternoon, but it's Friday and you're not doing anything anyway. We know that.
More importantly, if you have topics that you think are good on topics, let us know, because we actually don't actually decide all of these. We kind of go to the well for different things. But if you have other things you want us to dive deep on, let us know.
Specifically, what Mark calls distance education spaces.
No,
Talk about
specifically
that.
kit of parts. That's what we want to get to.
Zoom room.
And
How many
tiers.
buckets?
All that is a Zoom room.
How many
So-
buckets and
yeah,
tiers within
yours-
your system?
Distance ed rooms don't have the same kit of parts, apparently. Or the same
What, Zoom rooms?
experience.
They do.
But they
They
don't.
do?
Same kit of
Hold
parts, different experience. Just like this show.
That's right.
Anyway,
Same kit.
well,
Anyway,
we're going to roll out. Please join us at avsuperfriends.com for upcoming episodes where we delve into little things or other things a little more deeply. We maybe go a little more in depth on some topics. And if you want to reach out to us, hit us up on the tweeters, on the LinkedIn, email mailbag at avsuperfriends.com, and we will see y'all a month from now. Unless you're listening
see
to this like on your car in like 2 weeks.
Or they'll see us. We can't see them. But yes.
I can. Thanks for putting up with yet another episode of AV Super Friends on Topic. You can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at avsuperfriends.com.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV Super Friends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.